Alright everybody, welcome back. No, not week 3, that would be wrong. This is week 6, third episode every 2 weeks. So, hey, I'm country and I drink bourbon. Tough to get your math right. So, tonight we are doing Jefferson's Reserve. Very old, very small batch is what it says on the bottle. So, get that up there where you can see it. And I'm not sure. I'd have to do some comparisons. I'm pretty confident the picture on the front of the Reserve is Monticello. But there is no picture on the front of the other one, so that makes it easy enough. And we'll go into the difference between them here in just a second. There were some kind of funny reviews. We'll talk about that between the two. But supposedly the reviews on this one are really good. And for those of you keeping up, I know I checked my YouTube channel and I've just gotten started, so I'm not expecting anything insane. But there's not a lot of you. But for those of you that are keeping up, this is the third review, and we've talked about some other drinks and so forth, even some that I haven't reviewed on here. And I got thinking about it. One of them, if you've been keeping up, was a bottle. Now, I haven't tried the small batch, so give me that much. But I tried the Larceny here a while back, and I want to talk about that before I get into anything else. Because I said that there was one that I could not possibly give a good review, but I would still do it. The more I think about it, I'm not going to spend that kind of money on another bottle of bourbon that I just don't want to drink and just to do a review. So I'm going to say this about Larceny. The only thing illegal going on with Larceny is the fact that they're making $60 a bottle off that shit. There it is. Out there, done with it, not going to redo Larceny. So now we are at this. Redemption last week was incredible, especially for the price point. That is one of the only reviews that we have seen. Betty and I kind of looked through it before doing it tonight. Like I said, I got my notes to run through, but we looked at it, and the only one was price point on this. That's it. This is roughly a $60 bottle of bourbon. This is a fifth. To me, that's not crazy on a fifth. I've seen some fifths, especially they make them in. Hell, I've seen some bottles this tall that, the next that big around until it gets down to the bottom. And they're charging $100, $150, $200. I think they're charging for the bottle. I won't even try those. You will not see me review those. There's 3, 4, 5 down at the local liquor store. I'm not doing it. It may be the best bourbon I've ever tasted. Who knows? But hopefully one of my buddies that's willing to blow that kind of money invites me over one night for a barbecue, and I try the shit, and then I'll come back and tell you, okay, yeah, that was great. But I'm not going to do that. Not because the bottle's pretty. So let's start off. First, I'm going to say Jefferson is my favorite character from the past. I know he had some bad stuff. We all do. He had slaves, this, that. Also, one of the things I read about his history is Jefferson ran away from Monticello when everything was closing in on him, and he left some people behind and just went and hid. Okay. We're talking history. I do know, like I said, bad things about him, but as far as a character and the things that he did and the things that he wrote that formed the United States of America, he's one of my favorites. So that kind of led me to finally going ahead and picking up this bottle. I've looked at it multiple times and walked by the Jefferson collection. Haven't bought one, but tonight, here we go. So we're going to go ahead and open it. And by the way, I do have a cigar and a cutter. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But last time I lit it, and then I kept having to lay it down to go through all this process. I'll light it once I'm ready to taste. So, as we open it and let it air just a little bit, there is a little on the. I already like that. But anyway, so we're going to run through it. The Jefferson Small Batch Reserve. And like I said, remember the label? Remember, and also it's got this little tag where it actually says Jefferson Reserve and then very small batch on the bottom. But 8 years of aging. It says to the nose you're going to find honey and nutmeg. The flavors are caramel, toffee, and cinnamon with a finish of leather and tobacco. Now, how can it get any better for a guy that loves cigars to have a bottle of bourbon that says whenever it finally goes down and rests on your palate, you're going to get a tobacco flavor. So I'm good with that. I'm hoping that's true. That's a cool ending and cool finish. The awards: 2022 Ascot Double Platinum, 2022 John Barley Corn. And I actually had to ask this question because, like I said, Betty was looking this up for me while my phone was recharging after doing some live stuff on TikTok. And barley corn's all one word, so I'm thinking maybe that's somebody's last name. Who knows? But John Barley Corn Award, they won the gold. 84 5-star reviews. There are no 1 or 2 reviews on this bottle. To me, that's impressive because, yeah, the ones that were 4s and 3s, like I said, it was price point. Paying $60 for a fifth, few people apparently had a problem with paying that much. So, I do get a sweet scent. And Betty's going to join us tonight, so you're going to see me pass the bottle over. We're going to go through the process together. Betty joins me, though, for the taste portion. If Betty furls up, you know that if you're not a straight bourbon drinker, this is not for you. That's kind of the way it works. Because she is not a straight bourbon drinker unless it's smooth, has a good finish, doesn't burn like you just swallowed a charcoal briquette that's on fire. She likes a good smooth bourbon, and she will do a good smooth bourbon, but that's it, nothing else. Me, I'll turn up a bottle of Jim Beam or Evan Williams and go, yeah, that's bitter, but shit, it's bourbon. Not her. So she is my, what's that called? When you have someone to bounce it off of, or you have a test study to bounce it off of. She's my control. That's the word I'm looking for. She's the scientific control. If I say it's good and you see her go, oh my God, then you know it's good, but it's bitter. or it's got a burn, one hell of a burn to it. But that's nice. I'm going to let her take a sniff, see what she thinks.
Yeah, it smells sweet.
Yeah, it smells very sweet. Huh?
Kind of fruity.
Yeah. And which is kind of funny because it says to the nose it should be honey and nutmeg, but
I don't get that.
It's got a very fruity smell. I don't get that either. Maybe honey with fruit.
Yeah.
Maybe. But that's good. But we'll swirl it around the glass and we'll figure it out. I'll pour Betty a little shot as well. I'll do mine, give you my review, and then we'll bring her around for hers. Oh, we're evened up. All right. So,
now it smells more like a lot of alcohol.
yes, it does. When it hits the glass, it's very ethanol, very alcohol. But I'm not going to judge it on that either because sometimes the flavors can knock that down and make it really sweet or really good. So,
well, like the Four Roses, it was ethanol-y too.
Yeah, it was. Four Roses is very ethanol scented. You know what I have not done? I have not looked at the proof. I saw, like I said, I've been looking at this forever. All right, so it's 45.1%. So that gives you a 90.2 proof. Yep. 90.2. So, yeah, it's going to be a little stronger than the Redemption we tried last week. So for Betty, I will tell you this. Sometimes just the level of the alcohol in the drink will cause her to curl up a little bit. So before I taste it, let's talk about the cigar for tonight. There'll be a good picture of it in the intro. But this is a Tabak. And I don't know, I've left my glasses somewhere. Wait a minute. Y'all are going to laugh. laugh and make jokes about this. These are magnifying stuff we leave laying around here, so I'll put the big dumb magnifying glasses on for a second before I can read this. But this is a Robusto Dolce. Dolce? I think I'm saying that right. Dolce. Yeah, Dolce sounds better. But what this is it's. I'm not going to say it's my favorite cigar. Out of all of my flavored or dipped cigars, this is my favorite. It is espresso flavored. It tastes very good and it stays smooth. The pack is always tight. I've never had one of these to where the pack was loose and it was harsh, or to where it was so tight that you had to just sit there and work to get a drag or to keep it lit. Never. It's always been a good cigar. So this is one of my favorites. Matter of fact, the pack's so tight you can't get the ring off. You always have to find the banner. It's always been that way. The edge of the banner and pop it off of there. There we go. Alright, so you got to peel it off. I always leave the back one on because that lets you know you're done with that cigar anyway. If you start burning that, you're drunk. You're not sipping, you're drunk. So, so that is the cigar for tonight. Let's go ahead and get it cut, get it laid here. And we're going to let this continue to air for just a second. Because it's not fair to take any alcohol out of a bottle and not let it aerate just a little bit before you take a sip, the first sip. Now after that, you know what it tastes like. Hell, grab the bottle. I mean, hell, go sit down in the living room, turn on Netflix, and yeah, you know what I'm saying. But for a taste test and for giving a recommendation, don't do that. Let it air. The ethanol is starting to escape it. It's still there. It still smells slightly like you're at the doctor's office and you got a sore limb and there's some rubbing alcohol in the room. But not as bad. It's starting to get a sweet scent. Try it now. See if it's not lighter than it was a while ago.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So you got to let that escape. I mean, everybody does that with wine, and then you get, you know, I'm a country boy. You can call me a redneck if you want to. I guess I am because I worked out in the heat and the sun, did construction for years and all that stuff, and technically that's what a redneck's supposed to be. Somebody at the back of their neck is red because they work outside. I did all those things, and I've done that. Pop a lid on a bottle, sitting around picking guitar around a campfire. Everybody's passing it around. You don't give it time to air at all, and you're just chugging and having a great time. That's not the way to give a recommendation on what it tastes like. That's why you'll see me in every video. Pick on me if you want. Every video. You stir it, spin it, sniff it, until it gets right. Until you can kind of tell, okay, it's reached its balance. It's been in the air. And now I'm going to taste it. Yeah, we're getting there. It's kind of letting some of that loose. Letting some of what the flavors are supposed to be loose. Alright. So let's see if we get leather and tobacco out of this. I'm going to take a sip. Game plan never changes. Sip first, set it down, then take the shot. Okay. I get the leather more than tobacco. That's a unique flavor, actually. It really is for a bourbon. You usually always get the cinnamon, or you always get well, in the cheap ones, like Larceny, it tastes like you're chewing the fucking drum they put it in. But this doesn't taste like that. This is good. Yeah, not bad. So, let's pair it with a good espresso cigar, and then we'll take a shot. And then we'll bring Betty around, let her take a shot and see what she thinks. Go ahead and go ahead and take your sip off camera. Because, I mean, she hasn't drank anything tonight. I've had a few swallows of Maker's Mark. Oh, I got a little out of her. Yep, see, there you go.
Very strong.
Yeah, it is strong. It's a strong bourbon. Even for the alcohol content, it's a little strong. I've had a lot of hundreds that aren't quite as strong as the alcohol flavor I got out of this. But to me, it was smooth. It just strong.
But I do get the leather, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
And I'm just telling you, I love a good old fashioned Churchill or Cuban Reject or whatever, but it doesn't get much better than a Tabak. It's Tabak, Tabak, and they make a dark and a light colored. And I always forget all the technical terms. This, like I said, this is a Dolce. But this is, like I said, it's dipped in espresso or soaked in espresso, however they make these. But God, they're incredible. But I'm a coffee guy anyway. If ever anyone could say they're a bourbon person, when it comes to a good coffee, whether it's an espresso, I've been to Germany. Well, Germany's probably the best espresso I've ever had, but I've got to do a lot of traveling over the years overseas, and a good real espresso is incredible. And this is what this tastes like. It's sweet. But with the tobacco, you kind of get the, what would you call it? The ground, the bean. There you go. That's what I'm looking for. You get the bean in this as well. So it's sweet on the outside. It tastes good in your mouth. But, so let's take a shot. And we'll see how that goes down, because the shots always seem to be better. A sip always kind of rests on your tongue and up at the top of your palate, but a shot just kind of goes straight down, and then you get that after. Yeah, that's pure leather. If I had to compare it to anything, and I hadn't chewed on a whole hell of a lot of leather in my life, but it tastes like, oh God, Old English leather cologne on your dad or granddad. It tastes like that smelled. That's the best way to describe that. It tastes very much like Old English leather. If you were to open their bottle of, I don't know if you guys remember this shit, but that was an old square bottle that set up in the counter. And if you open it, that's what it tastes like. Very much Old English leather. So Betty, come around. It's your turn to show the face of the bourbon. This is the face of a non-bourbon drinker. This is a, what would you say you are a drinker? You're like your favorite, absolute favorite drink. What's your absolute favorite?
That was what I had the other night. The Jim Beam vanilla with some Coke and some cherries in it.
Right. Okay. So she's a mixed with flavor and sweet and so forth. You take all that and blend it together. We did. Matter of fact, we got it here. I'm not going to review it, but some Jim Beam vanilla. And I got the Maker's Mark back here on the counter because that's my go-to if I'm just going to turn the bottle up, have a sip. But let's go. Bottoms up. Ha ha! There it is.
It's because it's strong, not because it's bad.
you're going to get the most honest review you could ever get from her.
Yeah, but it does taste like you had a pair of reins in your mouth.
Had a pair of what?
Reins.
She said it tastes like horse reins. All right. But, I mean, that's an honest review from somebody who has not spent her life drinking bourbon.
You know, I didn't start drinking until 3 years ago.
So if you're curious, you seen the other day, or no, 2 weeks ago, not the other day. You seen 2 weeks ago, me enjoy a good.
They pair well together.
Yeah, they do. These pair really well together. But a good Cuban reject that comes from Argentina. That was the one from the last video. And hell, I laid it on the counter and talked for 3-4 minutes and picked it back up and never had to relight it. You're constantly, if you leave this cigar alone, you are going to relight it. Until you get past the first couple of inches and really get all the tobacco on fire. I'm telling you, it's packed tight but goes down smooth. I mean, you can see how much smoke I'm getting out of it, but it's packed tight. So, there you go. That was tonight's review. This is Jefferson's Reserve, very small batch. And go out and try it. I mean, price point against taste, Maker's Mark smoother, as far as just take a shot. But if you enjoy bourbon flavors and you want to taste something different, this is something different. Go out and give it a shot. And if you're looking back here and wondering, I just saw this in the video, so we're gonna pull it out of the video. If you're wondering about this, let me show you. These are aprons. So the first one has absolutely no color or anything else to it. So I got to look into that and I thought, man, somebody's gonna think you just got like somebody's diaper hanging up there. It's not. Those are old aprons hanging up in here, and I just didn't want that to be confused with something that looked very odd hanging from a curtain in the kitchen. So, because the very first one just really in the video doesn't have any color. If you can see it in person, it's got a whole bunch of little bitty flowers all over it, but it doesn't look that way when I'm looking at it in this video. It looks like somebody's diaper that I'm hanging up to dry back there. So. And as big as that is, that's baby Huey's or somebody's adult diaper. So I wanted to straighten that out before anything got said about that. So you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. As I told the people on TikTok while I was playing some music for them a while ago, go out, catch some catfish. Summer's almost over. Go have a good time. Drink some bourbon. Smoke a good cigar. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.